Biblical Archaeology, Caesarea Marítima. The site of Caesarea Marítima, on Israel's northern coast, is one of the largest archaeological sites in the country. It was founded as a Hellenistic anchorage settlement and developed into a significant and elaborate Roman city with an artificial harbor under Herod the Great in 22 to 10 BC. From then until the Byzantine period, it was the capital of the province of Palestine and larger than Jerusalem. Archaeological projects by numerous consortium groups have been carried out over the past 50 years, uncovering significant parts of the central city, the harbor, the Roman Temple of Augustus, the Byzantine octagonal church, the Crusader church, and the city walls. However, little is known of the city during the early Islamic period. Debates about the nature of the Levantine coast from the 7th to the 10th centuries characterize it as either an unpopulated no-man's land frontier with the Byzantine-controlled Mediterranean or interspersed with key settlements actively engaged in trade and exchange. According to Islamic sources, Caesarea, Arabic Caesarea, was a ribat, a type of site that functioned similarly as a military religious lookout station or a commercial way station. Herod the Great built this great port city, built on the Mediterranean coast, in honor of Caesar and called it Caesarea Marítima. Herod was a client king of Rome, ruling his province with the approval and authority of Rome and with the consent of his friend and patron, the Emperor Augustus. It is possible, even likely, that Jesus was born the same year Herod the Great died, in 4 BC. Caesarea's strategic location placed it at the intersection of important trade routes. But the port itself offered no natural advantages. The currents were dangerous, and there were problems with siltation. Using ingenious technical advances, Herod's engineers built 2 huge breakwaters, lined with warehouses. At the end of the southern breakwater stood the lighthouse, whose fire burned 24 hours a day. 6 huge bronze statues marked the treacherous sandbanks. For ships arriving from the sea, the site must have been truly impressive. Caesarea was built as a model of a Greco-Roman city and laid out on a grid. There was a forum, a theater, temples, public baths, paved streets, and an elaborate villa that probably belonged to Herod himself. 2 giant aqueducts brought fresh water from Mount Carmel and were part of an elaborate water and sewage system. But the focal point was a temple dedicated to Augustus. After his death, Herod's city became the new capital of the Roman province of Judea. When Jesus went to Jerusalem to celebrate Passover, the prefect of the province also traveled there to ensure that order was maintained. His name was Pontius Pilate. Until recently, Pilate's existence was known only through literary sources, but a recently discovered stone bears the inscription, Pontius Pilate from Judea, clearly demonstrating Pilate's position and administrative authority. Subsequent events put Caesarea on the map in ways neither Herod nor Pilate had intended. A riot in Caesarea incited the outbreak of the first Jewish revolt against Rome. Later, Caesarea became an important center of religious study and training. The great early Christian scholar and apologist Origen visited Caesarea in 231 AD and turned the city into a center of Christian learning. Origen built a huge library that became a magnet for scholarly study. When the Emperor Diocletian unleashed the Great Persecution, 303 to 313 AD, Caesarea became the place where several Christian martyrs died, whose fate is described in Eusebius's work on the martyrs of Palestine.